The penultimate stage of the Dakar 2009, a quick stage made for those fleet of foot. It's unlikely that Cyril Dupre can make up the 1.5 hours to Mark Coma, but you never know. And after yesterday and the loss of overall leader Carlos Sainz, VW need to keep a cool head to win. Yesterday, over the foothills of the Andes, we were greeted by condors. Their all-seeing eye never missed a thing as they rode the thermals over the top of the stage, down to La Rioja. But down on the ground, there was no time for such graceful flights. Many said yesterday was one of the hardest Dakar stages in recent memory. And the people who were saying that it was one of the hardest stages in recent memory were the works riders and drivers, let alone what it must have been like for the privateers and amateurs battling on, their energy levels near, well, to zero. The sand was so soft and the waypoints unbelievably difficult to find. Tempers were getting stretched to the absolute limit. Many found that it was better to team up. Many heads better than one. Rob van Pelt, Dutchman, decided it was maybe better to walk to the top of the hill to see what was over the other side. And once he got there, he wasn't too enlightened. How difficult could it be just to get those last few yards? People resorted to pulling, dragging, kicking or carrying their machines over. It was a murderously hard stage. But Gerhard Rondt deserved a round of applause, getting his KTM to the top of the hill. A full 11 points scored on the section. On board with Patrick Arnaud, the Frenchman. He likewise teamed up with many other people around him. He said it's a very hard Dakar, but we like it to be hard. However, it's paradoxically hard, as it hurts because it is so hard.
In the sand and not in proper tackling in all the dirt. It's not like being in a workshop, but it's nice and easy and clean to work. It's always a problem. Everything's difficult and you're tired. Now, broke a CV joint in it in the rear shaft, so we've got to replace it, and it's been a bit difficult because the nuts were rounding off. We've had to knock it off with a chisel. Made it very awkward and very difficult. So sooner or later we'll get it back on.
You fixed it.
We'll be all right. The boys have helped us fix it. The Dutch
Mr.
guys.
Brown's car is fixed again.
The Dutch boys have come to rescue. I like the Dutch. They're very nice. They're always helping us out. Go, go, go.
Trucks were pulled out of the stage at the last control point in order to save them from being lemmings. Overall leader Janil de Villiers said last night that any other car that wasn't a works car would have nearly had no chance at all of getting through the stage. So the trucks, many of the cars and most of the bikes were rerouted and followed a helicopter out of the stage onto a road section and back to service. That was actually an old racetrack at La Rioja late last night. Andre de Azevedo giving a shining example of why the organisers stopped the stage. Meanwhile, back with the Brits and the Dutch, they were continuing their European relationship.
Axle's broke at the back, so now we're pinning it together with straps, buggy straps and crowbars to hold it together so that we can muddle on and keep plodding through. It's the Dakar, keep plodding on. It's easy to give up, but it's harder to keep going. We intend to keep going, sooner or later. Yeah, we hope.
They can't help because we don't have a rear axe. Maar we moeten zien dat we het weer fixen together. We fixed him, now we have to fix us.
The lone Mitsubishi of Nani Roma was very late into service last night, dropping over 5 hours on the stage and dropping him to 6th overall. The problems with the brand new Mitsubishi were completely self-evident. Stage 13 of the Dakar for 2009, and after the bad luck for Carlos Sainz yesterday, let's hope that it's good luck for everybody remaining in the rally. 545 kilometers, the original length of stage from La Rioja to Cordoba, but it has been shortened to a mere 220 kilometers. A shortened stage today for all remaining in the Dakar. The penultimate stage. It was to be 545 kilometers. Now it's just 220, with the start line taking place at control point number 4, halfway through the original stage. Everybody had quite a late start this morning. So by the time they had done some 300 kilometers or so from La Rioja to the new stage start, they had time for a quick nap. Mark Comer, though, saying we're waiting here, but there are many spectators here. We hope that we have a good stage, but there are still 2 days to go. It's a lot, but I still want to enjoy it. In this part of the world, the only thing bigger than the Dakar at the moment is probably football. And as David Fretinier says, come on, let's get on with it. 33, 34 degrees it was out there on the stage today. And whatever stage it was quick, it was wide open, it was booming. And a chance for these guys to really get some throttle open. The Dakar has gone from the Atlantic over to the Pacific side of South America. Now we're going back towards the Atlantic, and a chance for these guys to really stretch their legs. 132 bikes started on the stage this morning, and 132 bikes enjoying every single minute of it. Who was going for the stage victory? Who was going to be playing it safe? It was a question that many asked. The local wildlife was somewhat disturbed momentarily as the Dakar raced through town. But for Cyril Desprez, he may well be an hour and a half behind Mark Comer in the overall standings. There was no chance that he could make up that hour and a half deficit on this stage. Desprez had a good go though. He could really fling the works Red Bull KTM around, and he came out with his 4th stage victory of this year's Dakar. The outgoing champion all going well for Mark Comer in tomorrow's final stage. Certainly enjoyed his run through. Mark Comer, he's still playing it safe, he's still nervous, he must be chewing his fingernails down to the quick. But Mark Comer trying to get that second Dakar victory, and certainly doing it in spectacular style with an hour and a half's margin over the rest of the field so far, with just the final stage remaining tomorrow, just 227 kilometers here from Cordoba down to the Atlantic coast to Buenos Aires. Third on today's stage and third in the overall standings, the man from France, David Fretinier, on the smaller 450cc Yamaha. He wrung its neck through the stage this afternoon. He couldn't make it go any faster. David Fretinier, really a rider's rider on this kind of stage. If you had put him on a bigger KTM 690, you have to put your money on him being victorious today. Fretinier only losing out on the stage victory by just over 2.5 minutes. Jordi Vierdoms, ever the faithful servant to hopefully the first champion of 2009 in the shape of Mark Comer, but Vierdoms, who has been so helpful to Comer throughout this Dakar. Vierdoms fourth on today's stage, seventh in the overall standings, and you never know, he could get sixth, he could get fifth tomorrow. It's very close, fifth, sixth and seventh in the overall standings. Still a bit to play for tomorrow. Fifth today, David Castello of France, only 3 seconds behind Vierdoms on today's stage. Castello fourth in the overall standings. Alain Duclos, such bad luck at the beginning of this rally, but Duclos playing it safe on his first Dakar on a Works KTM. Duclos ironically sponsored by a ski manufacturer. Oh, if only he could dream of such cooler climbs. Duclos not inside the top 10, but 6th on today's stage. Now then, we haven't seen much of the young Brazilian, Rodrigues Filho, but he finally got into his stride this afternoon, 7th on today's stage. We'll see more of him on future Dakars. Another man who spoke Portuguese, but on the other side of the Atlantic, Helder Rodrigues, the Portuguese rider. He was 8th. And Rodrigues still only 44 seconds ahead of Palander's Ulavaceta in the overall standings. Here is Ulavaceta, and those 44 seconds he may have to try and make up tomorrow on the run between Cordoba and Buenos Aires. He's cutting it fine, is Ulavaceta. He's currently 6th, but he could be 5th come the finish. Frans Verhoeven, 2-time stage winner on this year's event. Frans Verhoeven not only riding for the brand new Vectra squad, but managing it as well. 10th today, 8th in the overall standings. But massive problems for the unlucky in this second week. Francisco Lopez, engine dead, he was towed in. Depray's third stage victory of this year's rally, ahead of Comer, Fretinier, Vierdoms and Castello. Overall, Mark Comer continues to lead by an hour and 28 minutes ahead of the ever-chasing Depray. Fretinier safe in third. Winner Depray saying it was a quick stage, fun, a lot of fun, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we know with World Rally Championship. But on two wheels, standing up, it's equally great fun. This stage had some difficulties, a bit of navigation, but a lot of riding. There was not much traction, and we had to work on the bike. Physically, it was very, very hard. There were a lot of people out there, especially in the last few kilometers. They gave us a lot of support, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm happy to finish this stage. I didn't think I would be so quick. There were a few tight corners, but we had 30 very tight kilometres in the middle with a lot of acceleration out of the corners. I saw that I couldn't win, I just attacked, I'm third, but it was a good 220 kilometres and the 450 Yamaha gave all it could. Still one day to go and I've just got to make sure that I get it to the end and get it to the podium. David Frétinier, sterling job today on the smaller 450cc Yamaha. Castello, you must see all the people, the crowd, it's crazy. People are all over the place, real fans.
C'est vraiment des passionnés, vraiment des passionnés.
The penultimate but shortened stage for this year's Dakar on 4 wheels. 93 cars at the start. It was still tense, but some time for relaxation.
I mean, it's obviously very disappointing that Carlos had to retire. You know, I feel really sorry for him because I think he drove a really good race up until that point, and you know, it's really sad. But you know, happily they are both okay. You know, and we are thankful for that. But you know, now for us it's a little bit more pressure because we have to get to the finish now, and of course it's nice to be leading, but we have to make sure to get these 2 cars to the finish now, and it's very important for Volkswagen to achieve that. So hopefully we can do the job today and tomorrow.
Still a bit of fun, still a bit of joking going on. Robbie Gordon showing off his iPod Nano.
Play that song to him. Yeah, you took a little. Not
quite so sure about the kind of music that Robbie Gordon was playing to the Volkswagen crew, but they seem to give him the thumbs up. Now then, after all the joking and jesting at the stage start, there are still 2 stages to go and 477 kilometres of rallying still to go. That's nearly 280 miles. And as we saw yesterday, with the overall leader Carlos Sainz crashing out dramatically just 3 days before the end of the world's biggest motorsport event, anything could happen. Sainz was vociferous last night and still this morning about the conditions through which he went off the road yesterday. Not happy at all with the road book, so Volkswagen cannot afford any risks at all. They've currently got Janil de Villiers leading the rally, 2.5 minutes ahead of American teammate Mark Miller. Now, de Villiers started early in the stage and he waited on the side of the road for the American to catch him up for 2 minutes. Technically, there's only 35 seconds between them after nearly 44 hours of rallying. Robbie Gordon, 3rd in the overall standings, but over an hour and a quarter behind, then comes past them. As long as those 2 stay within an hour and a quarter of the American Gordon, the rally will go to de Villiers. Then those 2 Volkswagens waited for the 3rd and final VW race Touareg to catch them up, that of German Dieter Depping. De Villiers, Miller grinning, and Dieter Depping then went through the stage together. A team effort, absolute. Racing through the stage was not the order of the day. All they needed to do was to get the thing to the finish. They were going to let the other drivers have a crack at the stage victory. Those other drivers, Christoph Holovic, Alistair McRae, the kind of people who have already driven on Rally Argentina, a round of the World Rally Championship that uses these kind of stages. For Holovic and McRae, it was right up their street. For the Volkswagen drivers, they were firmly under the thumb of the board of Volkswagen and orders coming from Germany to say, get it to the finish. Was that then a chance for the American Robbie Gordon to try and get his debut stage victory in this year's Dakar? Lord, oh Lord, he'd been close enough. But halfway through the stage, Gordon was somehow losing time. He lost 18 minutes. His birthday may have been at the beginning of this rally, and it was nearly a late birthday present today, were it not for that loss of time. But here and now, at the time of this broadcast, the man who's been quickest through the stage is the Pole, Krzysztof Holowicz, with Jean-Marc Fortin alongside him. Their teammates, Ivar Erik Tollefsen, were also in touch, although Tollefsen, the Norwegian, calculating down to the last kilometre, was cool at letting Holowicz run away with the stage. Another man who was quick, particularly yesterday, Leonard Nowinski, quick with the BMW X3, and so was his teammate, Gerlan Schischeritz. After the loss of Nasser Al-Attiyah at the halfway point of this rally, BMW still the only manufacturer apart from Volkswagen who have been victorious on stages so far, until today, with Holowicz rocketing through the stage. Trucks on the Dakar weigh 16.5 tons, particularly Michel Bacou's truck. It cost him €200,000 and another €100,000 for the preparation to turn it from a normal truck that you see going up and down the world's motorways to a truck that could even compete on this year's Dakar. He's in a Renault Carax 6-wheel drive. He says, today we've really used it. We've really done well, a first for us, but we were stuck at the bottom of a dune, and then we had to get another truck going by towing it.
I
think between the big trucks, if we did not help ourselves amongst each other, then we won't do anything at all. It's not a victory, he says. Let's just say that we're in the semi-final, he says to his team and co-drivers. My mechanic, he joins us here on the Dakar for the first year, and I've said to him that it was not possible to win it, but we can hardly tell all the kind of things that we get up to. For example, the kind of terrain that we went through today. People would not believe us if we tell them that we had to climb 1.5 kilometers of dunes and then go down the other side for a full kilometer. We've been through bowls, ravines, cliffs. People just do not believe us. This really is the hardest race in the world. It certainly is in a truck. André de Azevedo, the man from Brazil in his Czech Republic Tatra, pretty well epitomizes what a struggle this year's Dakar has been for the truck drivers. De Azevedo, formerly a driver in the cars, now in the trucks, really knows how difficult this rally can be. At the front of the field, coming into today's stage down to Cordoba, Vladimir Chigin continues to lead the rally, not by 14 seconds, but by 1.5 minutes over his teammate Kabirov. Elsewhere in the field, trucks weren't racing. They were helping others, such as Alfie Cox here, with his buggy being pulled out by one of the De Roy trucks. It's a question of help each other to get everybody through the stage. At other times, it's been pretty well disastrous. In the early couple of days, people going off the road with quite fundamental problems. Fortunately, everybody just getting out okay. At other times, it wasn't sand, it was quicksand or bogs that caught people out. There was absolutely every type of condition on this year's Dakar. And Still with 2 stages to go for the trucks, it's not over yet. A minute and a half between the overall leaders after nearly 45 hours of running. Tomorrow, stage 14, the final competitive stage on this year's rally. We head back to Buenos Aires, leaving Cordoba for a 227-kilometre stage and that possible champagne celebration in Buenos Aires. Join us for the finale. It's not over yet.